The glitz and glamour of Hollywood have long gone hand in hand with indulgence and vices. Smoking, a once celebrated symbol of sophistication, rebellion, and allure, was a hallmark of the silver screen for decades. While the culture around smoking has shifted significantly, the golden age of Hollywood and beyond saw numerous stars lighting up both on and off the set. Among them, a few actors and actresses became synonymous with chain smoking, embodying the habit as part of their public persona. Here are 30 of the most notorious chain smokers in Hollywood history, whose smoking habits were as legendary as their careers. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. Humphrey Bogart, the smoking icon. Humphrey Bogart's raspy voice and rugged demeanor made him one of the most iconic leading men of Hollywood's golden age. With classics like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon, Bogart immortalized the image of the hard-boiled detective or romantic hero, often with a cigarette dangling from his lips. Smoking was integral to Bogart's screen presence, enhancing his tough, world-weary image. Off-screen, Bogart's smoking habit was no less prolific. Known to smoke upwards of 3 to 4 packs a day, he was rarely seen without a cigarette in hand. His deep affection for smoking even extended to his personal philosophy. He once remarked that a cigarette was his constant companion in times of joy and stress alike. Unfortunately, his lifelong habit had dire consequences. Bogart developed esophageal cancer, a disease that ultimately claimed his life at 57. Yet even as his health waned, he reportedly continued to smoke, cementing his status as a chain-smoking legend whose addiction shaped his career and eventually his legacy. Bette Davis, a fiery screen presence. Bette Davis, celebrated for her intense performances and bold personality, also cultivated a reputation as a relentless smoker. Her signature voice, gravelly and authoritative, was partly attributed to her heavy smoking, which was as much a part of her on-screen characters as her piercing eyes and cutting wit. Films such as All About Even Now, Voyager frequently showcased Davis with a cigarette, an emblem of her defiance and complexity. Off-screen, Davis was known to smoke as many as 3 packs a day. Her habit began in her youth and continued unabated through much of her life. Even during interviews and public appearances, Davis often had a cigarette close by. Her smoking, combined with her no-nonsense attitude, added to her mystique as a powerful and independent woman. While her health suffered from the effects of smoking, including a stroke and multiple bouts of cancer later in life, Davis remained unapologetic. For Davis, smoking wasn't just a vice. It was an indelible part of her identity as a Hollywood powerhouse. James Dean, the rebel with a cigarette. James Dean's brief but meteoric career left an indelible mark on Hollywood, and his image as a chain smoker became a defining aspect of his rebellious persona. With his brooding good looks and enigmatic aura, Dean was the epitome of cool in the 1950s. Cigarettes were an essential prop for his most iconic roles, including Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden, where his smoldering looks were often paired with actual smoldering smoke. Dean's smoking was more than just an on-screen affectation, it was a deeply ingrained habit. He was often photographed with a cigarette in hand, and his off-screen life mirrored the devil-may-care attitude of his film characters. Tragically, Dean's life was cut short in a car crash at just 24, leaving behind a legacy as both a cultural icon and a symbol of youthful rebellion. His cigarette-smoking image has since become timeless, a visual shorthand for defiance and allure in the mid-20th century. Lucille Ball, a star behind the smoke. While Lucille Ball is remembered for her comedic genius and her groundbreaking television show I Love Lucy, she was also a lifelong smoker. Her glamorous early career in Hollywood saw her featured in numerous films where smoking was depicted as an elegant pastime. Even as she transitioned to television, her habit persisted, though it was rarely highlighted in her comedic roles. Behind the scenes, however, Ball was a dedicated smoker, reportedly lighting up as soon as the camera stopped rolling. She was known to smoke filterless cigarettes and often consumed up to 2 packs a day. Despite her sparkling image as a wholesome TV icon, her heavy smoking habit took its toll. Ball suffered from several smoking-related health issues later in life, including emphysema. Nonetheless, her legacy as a pioneering entertainer endures, even as her chain smoking serves as a reminder of the pervasive smoking culture of her era. Marlon Brando, the method smoker. Marlon Brando, widely regarded as one of the greatest actors in cinematic history, had a complex relationship with smoking. Brando's performances, particularly in films like A Streetcar Named Desire and The Godfather, often showcased his smoking as a tool of characterization. Whether lighting a cigarette with a deliberate flare or exhaling smoke with quiet intensity, Brando used smoking to add depth and nuance to his roles. In real life, Brando was an unrepentant smoker for much of his career. Known for his method acting approach, he often allowed his personal habits to inform his performances. Smoking was no exception. While Brando's talent and innovation reshaped the art of acting, his health suffered from years of heavy smoking. He struggled with obesity and respiratory issues in his later years, ultimately succumbing to lung failure at 80. Brando's legacy as an acting titan is inseparable from his chain-smoking image, a testament to the era when cigarettes were as much a part of Hollywood as the camera itself. Audrey Hepburn, Grace Under Fire. Audrey Hepburn, the epitome of elegance and grace, was also an avid smoker for much of her life. Her iconic role as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's immortalized the image of Hepburn holding a cigarette in a long, glamorous holder, a symbol of sophistication and mystery. While the on-screen image of Hepburn smoking seemed chic and refined, the reality behind the scenes was far more habitual. Hepburn began smoking during her early years in the industry, and the habit stayed with her for decades. Reports suggest she smoked up to 3 packs a day at the height of her addiction. While Hepburn's public image remained polished and pristine, her smoking habit was a well-known secret among those who worked with her. In her later years, she scaled back her smoking but suffered from health complications likely exacerbated by her decades-long habit. Despite this, Hepburn's legacy as an icon of beauty and style remains untarnished, with her smoking serving as a reminder of a time when cigarettes were inseparable from Hollywood's allure. Clark Gable, the king of Hollywood's smoking throne. Clark Gable, known as the King of Hollywood, was a leading man whose charm, swagger, and cigarette were ever present on and off the screen. With his dashing roles in films like Gone with the Wind and It Happened One Night, Gable epitomized the classic Hollywood ideal of masculinity. Cigarettes often punctuated his performances, adding to his image of effortless cool and authority. In his personal life, Gable's smoking habit bordered on the extreme. He was known to consume up to 3 packs a day, a habit that likely contributed to his deep, gravelly voice that became one of his trademarks. Friends and colleagues often recalled that Gable would light up as soon as he stepped off the set, and his dressing room was perpetually filled with the smell of tobacco. Unfortunately, his smoking habit took a significant toll on his health. Gable suffered from heart issues later in life and died at just 59. Despite this, his smoking remains an indelible part of the image of a Hollywood titan who defined an era. Rita Hayworth, the smoldering goddess. Rita Hayworth, one of the most glamorous stars of the 1940s, exuded sensuality and charm in every performance. Her role in Gilda, with its famous glove removal scene, remains one of the most iconic moments in film history. Cigarettes were often part of her on-screen allure, adding a sense of danger and seduction to her characters. Off-screen, Hayworth was a habitual smoker who reportedly lit up constantly, both as a stress reliever and a social ritual. Friends and co-stars remembered her as a woman who rarely appeared without a cigarette in hand, whether on set or during glamorous Hollywood parties. The habit, coupled with a tumultuous personal life, eventually took its toll on her health. In her later years, Hayworth suffered from Alzheimer's disease, a battle that overshadowed her struggles with smoking-related issues. Her legacy, however, remains one of undeniable beauty, talent, and an air of mystery perpetually surrounded by smoke. John Wayne, the Marlboro Man of Hollywood. Few actors are as synonymous with American ruggedness as John Wayne. The Duke, as he was affectionately called, became the face of the Western genre, often portraying tough-as-nails cowboys or war heroes. Cigarettes were a natural extension of his on-screen persona, a symbol of grit and masculinity in the rough-and-tumble worlds he inhabited. In real life, Wayne was a dedicated chain smoker, consuming 5 packs of unfiltered cigarettes daily at the height of his addiction. His smoking was so constant that it became part of his identity, both in front of the camera and away from it. Wayne's lifelong habit led to serious health issues, including a battle with lung cancer in the 1960s. Though he underwent surgery to remove a lung, he continued smoking afterward, a testament to the grip of his addiction. Wayne's enduring popularity as an American icon is tinged with the poignant reality of his smoking, which ultimately contributed to his death from stomach cancer in 1979. Lorre Bacall, the Queen of the Low Voice. Lorre Bacall, with her husky voice and smoldering gaze, was the epitome of Hollywood sophistication. Her legendary romance with Humphrey Bogart was famously cemented on the set of To Have and Have Not, where her sultry line, "You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve?" became cinematic history. Cigarettes were as much a part of Bacall's allure as her distinctive voice, often featured as an accessory to her character's cool confidence. Off-screen, Bacall was an unapologetic smoker who began the habit as a teenager and carried it into her adult life. Her deep, smoky voice, which became her signature, was undoubtedly influenced by her smoking. Though Bacall eventually quit the habit in later years, it left a lasting impact on her health. Her voice, however, remained a cultural touchstone, forever linked to the golden age of Hollywood and its intoxicating mix of glamour and indulgence. Joan Crawford, the chain-smoking perfectionist. Joan Crawford, a star of the silver screen whose career spanned decades, was as renowned for her talent as for her meticulous attention to detail. Known for her roles in Mildred Pierce and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Crawford's on-screen personas often carried an air of tension and drama, frequently accompanied by a cigarette. Crawford's smoking was as relentless as her pursuit of perfection. She was known to smoke several packs a day, using cigarettes as both a prop and a personal indulgence. Crawford reportedly believed that smoking helped her maintain her famously slim figure and relieve stress from the pressures of stardom. Her dedication to her habit was so intense that her dressing rooms and personal spaces were outfitted with ashtrays at every turn. Like many of her contemporaries, Crawford eventually suffered health complications likely tied to her smoking, but she remained one of Hollywood's most enduring figures, a symbol of both resilience and extravagance. Steve McQueen, the King of Cool. Steve McQueen, dubbed the King of Cool, was the ultimate action star of the 1960s and 70s. With films like Bullitt and The Great Escape, McQueen embodied a tough, rebellious spirit that resonated with audiences worldwide. Cigarettes were integral to his image, reinforcing his persona as a rugged individualist who lived by his own rules. In his personal life, McQueen was a relentless smoker, often seen puffing away on unfiltered cigarettes or cigars. His smoking habit was intertwined with his thrill-seeking lifestyle, which included motorcycle racing and high-speed car chases. McQueen's addiction to cigarettes likely contributed to the mesothelioma, a rare cancer linked to asbestos exposure that claimed his life at the age of 50. Despite his untimely death, McQueen's legacy as a Hollywood icon and chain smoker remains firmly entrenched in popular culture. Greta Garbo, the smoking enigma. Greta Garbo, the reclusive Swedish actress known for her mystique and timeless beauty, was an icon of Hollywood's silent and early sound eras. Her performances in films like Grand Hotel and Ninotchka exuded sophistication and an ethereal quality. Despite her carefully cultivated image of mystery, Garbo was an inveterate smoker, indulging in cigarettes both on and off the screen. Garbo's smoking habit aligned with her penchant for solitude. She often sought refuge from the public eye and was rarely seen in social settings without a cigarette in hand. Those close to her described smoking as one of her few visible vices, providing comfort in her private moments. Though she retired from acting in her mid-30s and lived a quiet life away from Hollywood, the image of Garbo as a sophisticated chain-smoking star remains etched in cinematic history. Her legacy is a blend of talent, enigma, and the haze of cigarette smoke that followed her wherever she went. Edward G. Robinson, the tough guy with a cigarette. Edward G. Robinson, one of the definitive tough guys of classic Hollywood, made a career out of playing gangsters and morally complex characters in films like Little Caesar and Key Largo. His roles often required him to wield a cigarette as a prop, adding menace and sophistication to his performances. Robinson's affinity for smoking wasn't just an act. He was a heavy smoker in real life, often going through multiple packs a day during his peak years. Smoking became such an integral part of his identity that it was difficult to separate the man from his characters. Robinson's addiction took a toll on his health, contributing to heart and respiratory issues later in life. Nevertheless, his performances remain iconic, and the image of Robinson leaning back, exhaling smoke while delivering a sharp retort, remains a defining snapshot of Hollywood's golden age. Barbara Stanwyck, femme fatale in A Cloud of Smoke. Barbara Stanwyck, a trailblazing actress known for her roles in Double Indemnity and Stella Dallas, was a Hollywood powerhouse who mastered the art of playing complex, strong-willed women. As a quintessential femme fatale, her characters often used cigarettes as tools of seduction, emphasizing their cunning and control. Stanwyck was an unrepentant smoker in real life, reportedly lighting up constantly on set and during breaks. Those who worked with her often commented on how smoking seemed to sharpen her focus and intensity. While her addiction to cigarettes likely contributed to her health problems later in life, Stanwyck rarely spoke about it publicly. Instead, she left behind a legacy as one of Hollywood's most enduring stars, with cigarettes as an unmistakable part of her on-screen and off-screen personas. Errol Flynn, the swashbuckling smoker. Errol Flynn, the dashing star of adventure films like The Adventures of Robin Hood and Captain Blood, was synonymous with charm and reckless abandon. Flynn's life off-screen was as dramatic as the roles he played, filled with excesses that included heavy smoking. Cigarettes were a constant companion for Flynn, who often smoked during interviews, on sets, and at Hollywood parties. Flynn's smoking habit was legendary, with accounts suggesting he could go through several packs a day. Combined with his hard-drinking lifestyle, it became a symbol of his devil-may-care attitude. While his charisma and talent won him fans around the globe, his health suffered from years of indulgence. Flynn died at the age of 50 from a heart attack, with his lifelong smoking habit being a likely contributing factor. Despite his untimely death, Flynn's swashbuckling image and his ever-present cigarette continue to define the archetype of the adventurous Hollywood star. Mae West, the smoking sex symbol. Mae West, the irrepressible star known for her double entendres and sultry demeanor, was a trailblazer for women in Hollywood. Her iconic performances in films like She Done Him Wrong and I'm No Angel often featured her with a cigarette used as a prop to underscore her boldness and sensuality. West's off-screen life was no less audacious. She was a habitual smoker who used cigarettes as part of her stage persona and in her private moments. For West, smoking was not merely a habit but a statement of her independence and defiance of societal norms. While her smoking may have contributed to health issues later in life, West remained unapologetic about her choices. Her enduring legacy as a sex symbol and a Hollywood rebel is inseparable from the image of her holding a cigarette with characteristic flair. Dean Martin, the crooner who couldn't quit. Dean Martin, one of the most beloved entertainers of his time, was a member of the famed Rat Pack and a star of film, music, and television. Known for his smooth voice, easygoing charm, and quick wit, Martin often smoked during his performances, making cigarettes a part of his casual, debonair image. Martin's smoking habit was genuine, not just a stage gimmick. Friends and colleagues recalled that he smoked almost constantly, whether he was on a film set, hosting the Dean Martin Show, or relaxing with a drink in hand. Cigarettes seemed to fit naturally into his persona as a carefree and charismatic entertainer. Despite his enduring success, Martin faced health problems in his later years, including emphysema, which was exacerbated by his smoking. Nevertheless, his charm and talent left an indelible mark on Hollywood, with cigarettes serving as a defining element of his style. Spencer Tracy, the complex everyman. Spencer Tracy, often regarded as one of the greatest actors in cinematic history, was known for his understated yet powerful performances in films such as Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and Captain's Courageous. Tracy's authenticity and relatability made him a beloved figure, but behind the scenes he struggled with a heavy smoking habit that followed him throughout his career. Tracy reportedly smoked up to 2 or 3 packs a day, a routine that became a crutch during periods of stress and self-doubt. He was rarely seen without a cigarette, whether on set or during personal moments of reflection. Smoking, however, took a significant toll on his health, contributing to chronic lung and heart issues in his later years. Despite his struggles, Tracy's legacy as a consummate actor and a cornerstone of classic Hollywood endures, even as the shadow of his chain smoking remains part of his story. Elizabeth Taylor, Hollywood's diamond diva. Elizabeth Taylor, with her violet eyes and magnetic screen presence, was a symbol of Hollywood glamour for decades. From her early days in films like National Velvet to her Oscar-winning performances in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Taylor captivated audiences worldwide. Her addiction to cigarettes, however, was as notorious as her love of diamonds and tumultuous personal life. Taylor began smoking at a young age, and by the height of her fame, she was consuming up to 2 packs a day. Smoking became intertwined with her public persona, and she was often photographed with a cigarette in hand, adding to her aura of sophistication and defiance. Unfortunately, Taylor faced numerous health issues later in life, including emphysema and congestive heart failure, which were exacerbated by her lifelong smoking habit. Despite these challenges, Taylor remained a force of nature, her star power undiminished even as her smoking habit cast a long shadow over her health. Paul Henreid, the romantic smoker. Paul Henreid may not be as widely recognized today, but his role in the classic film Casablanca as Victor Laszlo remains iconic. However, it was his famous dual cigarette lighting scene with Bette Davis in Now Voyager that cemented his place in Hollywood history. The act of lighting 2 cigarettes and passing one to Davis became an enduring symbol of cinematic romance. Henreid's on-screen use of cigarettes mirrored his personal life, where he was a heavy smoker. His habit, like many of his contemporaries, was a product of the era's cultural norms. Smoking became part of Henreid's suave and gentlemanly image, but it contributed to his declining health in his later years. While he eventually left behind the leading man roles for a career in directing, Henreid's association with smoking remains one of the most romanticized depictions of the habit in film history. Jean Harlow, the blonde bombshell. Jean Harlow, the original blonde bombshell, was a trailblazer in Hollywood during the 1930s. Her roles in films such as Dinner at 8 and Bombshell showcased her sharp wit, beauty, and undeniable charisma. Smoking was a regular fixture in her on-screen performances, enhancing her image as a daring and modern woman of the jazz age. Off-screen, Harlow was equally enamored with cigarettes, smoking frequently during breaks on set and in her private life. Her habit was reflective of the rebellious spirit of the time, as smoking among women was becoming increasingly fashionable. Tragically, Harlow's life was cut short at the age of 26 due to kidney failure, but her legend endures as one of Hollywood's most captivating stars. Her smoking, though emblematic of her era, serves as a poignant reminder of the fleeting nature of her stardom. Peter Lorre, the sinister smoker. Peter Lorre, known for his distinctive voice and ability to play complex, unsettling characters, became one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces in films like M and the Maltese Falcon. Cigarettes were an essential part of his screen persona, often adding a layer of menace or intrigue to his performances. Off-screen, Lorre was an obsessive smoker who relied on cigarettes to fuel his creativity and cope with the pressures of his career. Colleagues described him as someone who seemed almost inseparable from his habit, often chain-smoking between takes and during downtime. Unfortunately, Lorre's health deteriorated as a result of his smoking, and he suffered from chronic heart and lung issues in his later years. Despite his struggles, Lorre remains an iconic figure, his image forever tied to the shadowy allure of classic film noir and the haze of cigarette smoke. Carole Lombard, the screwball-smoking queen. Carole Lombard, one of Hollywood's greatest comediennes, was beloved for her effervescent charm and impeccable timing in films like My Man Godfrey and To Be or Not to Be. Her sparkling personality and glamorous beauty made her a favorite among fans and critics alike. Behind the scenes, however, Lombard was a habitual smoker who used cigarettes to unwind and stay energized during her demanding schedule. Lombard's smoking was emblematic of the fast-paced, high-pressure world of Hollywood in the 1930s and 40s. She was known to smoke heavily, often lighting up during interviews or between takes on set. Tragically, Lombard's life was cut short in a plane crash at the age of 33, leaving behind a legacy of laughter, sophistication, and the ever-present cigarette that accompanied her meteoric rise to fame. Her story is a reminder of the dazzling yet often fleeting nature of Hollywood stardom. Gary Cooper, the strong, silent smoker. Gary Cooper, one of Hollywood's quintessential leading men, captivated audiences with his stoic performances in films such as High Noon and Sergeant York. Known for his rugged masculinity and understated charisma, Cooper often used cigarettes as props in his roles, reinforcing his image as the quiet, unflappable hero. Off-screen, Cooper was a prodigious smoker, consuming several packs a day. Smoking was a fixture in his private life, whether he was relaxing at his ranch or socializing with friends in Hollywood. Cooper's habit, however, eventually caught up with him. He was diagnosed with lung cancer and passed away at 60, leaving behind a legacy as one of the most iconic stars of Hollywood's golden age. His life is a testament to the era's glamorization of smoking, even as it exacted a heavy toll on its practitioners. Myrna Loy, the sophisticated smoke Myrna Loy, known as the perfect wife for her roles in the Thin Man series, was one of Hollywood's most versatile actresses. Her blend of wit, elegance, and charm made her a favorite among audiences and critics alike. Cigarettes were often part of her on-screen persona, adding a layer of sophistication to her characters. In real life, Loy was a devoted smoker who frequently lit up during breaks on set and at Hollywood soirees. Smoking was deeply embedded in her lifestyle, reflecting the cultural norms of her time. While Loy lived a long life, passing away at the age of 88, she experienced health complications that were likely exacerbated by her decades-long habit. habit. Despite this, her legacy as an enduring symbol of old Hollywood glamour remains untarnished, with the image of a poised Loy holding a cigarette still resonating with fans. George Sanders, the smoking sophisticate. George Sanders, famed for his silky voice and urbane screen presence, was a master of portraying charming yet morally ambiguous characters. His role as the acerbic Addison DeWitt in All About Eve earned him an Academy Award and cemented his place in cinematic history. Cigarettes were a natural accessory for Sanders' debonair image, often appearing in his films as extensions of his character's suavity. In his personal life, Sanders was an inveterate smoker who used cigarettes as both a stress reliever and a social tool. He reportedly smoked heavily during his long career, which spanned over 4 decades. Sanders' smoking likely contributed to his declining health and struggles with depression in his later years. His death by suicide in 1972 marked a tragic end to a career that left an indelible mark on Hollywood, with cigarettes an inseparable part of his sophisticated image. Ingrid Bergman, the Smoky Innocence. Ingrid Bergman, the luminous star of Casablanca and Notorious, was celebrated for her natural beauty and extraordinary acting talent. Often cast as the epitome of grace and innocence, Bergman's on-screen characters occasionally broke the mold with a cigarette in hand, adding complexity and edge to her performances. Bergman's personal relationship with smoking was more pronounced than her on-screen portrayals. She began smoking in her youth and continued the habit throughout much of her life. While she eventually quit in her later years, the damage was done. Bergman developed breast cancer, which ultimately led to her death at 67. Despite this, her legacy remains one of unparalleled artistry, with her image as a radiant yet multifaceted actress enduring long after her final performance. Robert Mitchum, the cool cat smoker. Robert Mitchum, with his laconic style and effortless cool, was one of Hollywood's most distinctive leading men. Known for films like Out of the Past and The Night of the Hunter, Mitchum often portrayed characters whose cigarettes were as much a part of their persona as their dialogue. His slow, deliberate puffs and casual demeanor became a trademark of his screen presence. Off-screen, Mitchum was no less attached to his cigarettes. He was a relentless smoker who often joked about his habit, brushing off concerns about its impact on his health. Mitchum's cavalier attitude extended to many aspects of his life, but smoking remained a constant. While he lived to the age of 79, his heavy smoking contributed to his declining health in his later years. Mitchum's legacy as a trailblazer of film noir and a symbol of rebellious cool remains intact, with his chain smoking an indelible part of his mystique. Tallulah Bankhead, the smoking eccentric. Tallulah Bankhead, a larger-than-life actress and socialite, was as famous for her outsized personality as for her acting talent. Known for her stage and film work in productions such as The Little Foxes and Lifeboat, Bankhead exuded an air of defiance and wit that made her a Hollywood and Broadway legend. Cigarettes were a constant prop in her life, both on and off the stage, often accompanying her razor-sharp quips. Bankhead was an unapologetic chain smoker, reportedly going through more than 100 cigarettes a day. Her husky voice, which became her trademark, was directly attributed to her smoking. She often incorporated her habit into her public persona, using it as a tool for comedic or dramatic effect. Despite her undeniable charisma, Bankhead's smoking contributed to her declining health in later years. She passed away at the age of 66, her life a mix of triumph, scandal, and the ever-present haze of tobacco smoke. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on the biggest chain smokers in Hollywood history? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.